I'm here with Mark Emery, the collector. And we're here at your Moss Vale home. And we're going to have a look at your collection that began many, many years ago.
Yes, yes.
Can you just quickly tell us the story about how that came about?
I was in year 7, 1971, at Kaima High School down the South Coast, and the teacher asked us to make a scrapbook of newspaper articles from, take an example of different parts of the newspapers, and a sports section. I thought, well, I'll take South Sydney, of course. And just at that moment, South Sydney lost 3 games in a row in 1971. And I was getting a bit desperate because it was getting towards the end of it. And luckily, they won against North Sydney 40-7 in the weekend before it was due on the Monday. And that was my very first article from the Sun Herald, buying and cutting out and sticking it into the scrapbook. And that's where the scrapbook started. I really started in earnest in 1972, which is ironic. But it just, because of passion, it's just, I've done it for the rest of my life.
And it really is. We're going to have a look at your collection, but you're going to get some of it out for us now. And you've got footy cards and some really priceless old newspapers here. And we're going to start with some Rabbitohs footy cards here.
Okay, the footy cards. Now, I'll start off with a laugh, of course, because we have, naturally, someone who's a very important person in the South Sydney history.
Okay.
So, you've probably heard of that person.
I've heard of that
before,
bloke, yeah. So you want me to sign that for you?
Yeah, here we go.
Let's
There we
do
go.
that. Okay.
So I can actually say, he came to my place and I can actually say, there's the signature.
There
and
it
I
is.
actually now have a Steve Maven.
You've got a signed Steve Maven card.
Signed footy card. I'll put that away.
Well, thank you.
But the footy cards that go right back to the beginning, the old ones.
Just turn it around a bit there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
The original ones were things like these, where they had cigarette cards, like these ones here.
Right. Okay.
And then which are very rare and quite expensive to buy.
Okay.
But then it goes on. There were some cards from 1949.
Yep.
And these ones from the Scanners group from the 1963, which I managed to get off a lady who was she was giving them away.
Wow.
And I told her not to give them away, but to give me the South City ones, and I'll sell the rest of them. Mm-hmm. And I sold all the other rest of the cards for her and gave her $5,000 in cash.
Gee.
So and I kept the South City ones.
Yeah, I
which
bet.
was a fair swap.
I just saw Alf O'Connor there, and I know his grandson.
Yes.
That's the great Paul O'Connor, and the O'Connor brothers. They're just 2 legends of the club.
Yes.
From back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah. So
the brilliance. I have a fascination ever since this sort of came about. I have a fascination with the 1920s.
Okay.
Because the 1920s were such an incredible time in history, but incredible time in South Sydney history.
It's a golden era of the club,
Absolute
isn't it?
golden era. And one of the ones, the newspapers, I collect a lot of newspapers, and one of the old newspapers I had was what was called the Referee, which there was a guy named C.J. Davies, the Cynic, and Claude Colbert in the Sun.
Yep.
Were 2 of the greatest journalists of all time.
Right.
And the articles were just so huge and so wonderful with South Gear.
Yeah. All right, we'll have a look at a bit more stuff.
So probably just, as I said, I got a snapshot of newspaper articles.
Yep.
One I've got from an old bound copy.
Yeah.
Which is from South Sydney's 1970, the Sun Herald, South Sydney's 1970 grand final.
Unbelievable.
And I picked up an old picture here. It's got a picture of Sattler, an old press photograph of Sattler in the change shed, and
with the broken jaw.
With the broken jaw.
Look at it, because you can see.
You can actually see his broken jaw.
His half of, they said that. I remember Lurch talking about it, the great late John O'Neill, and said when he spoke to him at half time, he spoke and his half his jaw just dropped down, and you can see it there. It's not there.
Yeah.
What a tough man, and he's the late great Johnny Sattler, and Shout out to son Scotty, and what a legend of the club. And so that's just one example of hundreds and hundreds and probably thousands of examples of these priceless articles that some of this may not exist anywhere else. Mark.
Yeah, so these ones, as I said, they were press photographs that were, this particular one wasn't used. I've seen one similar to that in a book, but and this you buy these things, most of it comes up on eBay.
Yeah.
Another section of things I actually have are things like the old South magazines.
Yeah, okay.
South Sydney, the Leeds Club used to put out a magazine.
Right.
A monthly magazine, and that went for quite a while. But this one was it's a really good one. I picked out that particular one because it's got the trip over to New Zealand in 1968.
Yeah. Okay.
And
now I think you wrote an article about this for bunnystv.au.
Yes.
Now a lot of regulars to the show would remember Mark.
Yeah.
He writes regular articles, and we use a lot of this stuff for bunnystv.au. That's our website.
Yeah.
And
in actual fact, I have to say that really honestly, with most of the articles I write, I cheat because really the articles are in here. And that's where a lot of the articles come up. These old South magazines that I've got that come up, and there was a person in there who used to write a pen name, the Old Timer, and he would write historical articles about South Sydney. In there,
so you can refer back to the
and then
words.
I use the information.
Yeah.
I mean, when I did the Alf O'Connor, there was articles about Alf O'Connor in there. I mean, I didn't see Alf O'Connor play. I don't know anything about him. I used the information from those old magazines, from the articles to put in there.
Amazing. So this is one of the benefits, and that's a signed one there. Look at that. Ivan Jones, the great Ivan Jones, Eric Sims, Dennis Lee, Sluggo, I think they call him. Is it right? Yeah, Bob McCarthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some legends on there. Elwyn Walters, Bobby Grant, Wayne Stevens. Look at that. That's a cracker. And the great John Sattler at the top.
Yeah.
Bob Honan. So that's just that one on its own.
Yes. Well, that's a printed one, of course. Naturally, that was what the issue was.
Yeah. So
but that's a fantastic thing that it had all the articles and so on there.
Yeah. Look at that one. An awesome collection, mate.
So also I had it's amazing. A lot of the things I bought, but a lot of the things I've been given. And one of the things I was given, I went around to see some people, and they gave me a full set of Rugby League weeks. He just said, "I don't want these. You can have them." And I said, "A full set of Rugby League weeks from 1970 and 1971."
Unbelievable.
And that's the issue from the
look at that.
The front page of the Rugby League week from 1971 after we won the premiership, and it was sitting there going, "No, we're going to continue." It was pathetic because they're saying, "Oh, we're going to win. We're going to continue on winning. We're going to win. How can we possibly stop? Of course, we're going to win in 1972." But
we didn't win again for 43 years.
43 years. 43 years.
Wow.
43 years.
So they've slayed the Dragons there. And isn't that funny that we're playing them on Saturday?
Yes.
And I don't know if we're going to be.
I don't know. I don't know whether we'll be able to do that.
I don't know if we're going to be as confident as we were in the 71 grand final, but that was a good grand final because we sort of got revenge. I think they got us in 65, didn't they?
Yes.
And we got revenge in that one. But that's very topical, that one.
That was a real beauty. But of course, the main it goes through other things like the main things are the programs themselves.
Okay. Match day programs. Match day
programs.
Yeah.
And probably the most expensive and valuable one is this one here, which is a grand final against Eastern Suburbs in 1931.
Wow. 1931.
Yeah.
Geez, not even many people that even know that, would they?
Which was an amazing game itself. And then we played a state game the week after that. We played a state game against Southern Districts, or Group 9, which is that one there.
Gee.
But I've got programs from most years and things like that. But
So how did you go about amassing this collection? So was it just research, looking online, ringing up?
Yeah, I'd have to say the majority of what I got was from the eBay.
Oh, eBay, yeah.
Yeah, most of it's from eBay.
Yep.
Some of it was given to me. Some of it I picked up from other collections from people who knew people.
Yep.
And then you picked up bits and pieces from here, there. Some, as I said, some of it came from people who'd given me things. One, some really, really lovely pieces I had was from a person whose name was Dave Watson, who was a great South player in the 1920s and was coach of South, and was a member. They did an article. I think I did an article on him too. And I've just met his son in the lift, and was going down the lift, and we got chatting as
you do.
As you do. And he invited me over to have a look at his collection, and I saw some things there, like these hats they had. I have to actually. I've got a picture of one somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know where it would be actually, but I've got a picture of a hat.
Okay.
With
maybe
when they used to talk about people being capped, and it's just like a little cap type hat.
Maybe you can dig it up and we can add it later in the article. But that's amazing. And so you've amassed this collection. It's like a national treasure. It's like a museum, isn't it?
Yeah. One of the things I picked up from somewhere which was really lovely was an old program. When you talk about programs, this was the type of program they used to have. Now, that was the original program. This is a 1905 program before South was ever made.
Wow.
That's a rugby union, South City Rugby Union program.
Gee.
And that's the team itself. That's a photograph of the team, which is a separate postcard. And some of them are postcards where they had they used to make postcards because photography was so expensive that people would make postcards, and then you could send a postcard to people, sort of thing.
I think the Rabbitohs took the rugby red and green colours. Is that?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
yes.
like I think a lot of the teams did that back in the day.
On the side, they're playing Sydney District on that side, which is 1905, and it had Billy Cann and Eddie Fry.
Yep, and they end up playing for the Bunnies.
McCabe. And Sydney District was playing South Sydney,
and
it has the colours cardinal green. That was a rugby union colours.
Right.
And it was exactly. And if you probably can't see it, of course.
Yeah.
But the 1905 photograph has the same.
The hoops.
Same hoops and the same distance of the hoops that have for the South City jumper. They have these.
Oh yeah, we can see
exactly the same jumper.
Amazing.
But what I picked up, one of the really good things I picked up was the old annual reports.
Yeah. Okay.
And.
Well, they'd have a wealth of information about the club and its runnings and all that.
And this one here, one of the earliest ones I've got from the South Sydney annual report from 1913.
Wow. So who else is going to have that? Well, you don't.
Well, I've never seen it anywhere else. I've seen a picture of this particular one in a book somewhere. Mm-hmm. They picked up in the third grade. They won a game here by one of them. They won a huge amount.
See, the old Redfern Town Hall was referred to there.
and the third, and the second grade and the third grade were different. The teams were different. They had a lot of like South City, Kincora, and Alexandria, and Newtown.
Yeah,
and
okay.
Balmain, Iona, and Marrickville, Annandale.
Amazing.
The clubs that don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So, this, like I said, this is the priceless collection. What do you plan on doing with it eventually? What you're gonna?
Funny you should say that.
I've
had this conversation with my children.
Yep.
That I've seen so many times when people, because my father was like this too. My father was involved in Gerringong and family history, and he loved the Gerringong Historical Society and that sort of thing. And so I've taken that on too. I do that. I do historical articles for the Gerringong Historical Society as well, and write articles for the paper. But I have seen so much where I've seen people throw out things, and one of the classic things I got was a person who was a person who they had their job was to go in and clean houses up when somebody had died, and this person had been a South Sydney president, and he's had a big box of collection of his stuff, a whole series of annual reports and articles and things like that. And this guy had, in cleaning out the house, had picked up this box and went, "Oh, maybe I can make a bit of money out of that." And he put it on eBay, and I went, "Thank you very much. I love that."
Wow.
But the saddest thing about that was people have massive collections and things like that, and they just get thrown in the garbage.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's why it's so wonderful when some of the ones I've done with people where like Paul, who treasure the things he's got from the O'Connors.
Yes. He does. He's very proud of his collection.
And a wonderful collection, and that sort of collection will never get thrown out.
No.
Now, I've got I never had any people play for South Sydney. I'm not connected that way.
Yep.
But, so it's not like a family thing, but I suppose one day I'll have to give it to you.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, I was thinking more of like the big something that'd go in the National Museum or something like that, somewhere that could, archive it, catalogue it, and preserve it for history, something like that. Whether that's something that might happen, or whatever, or whether you just give it away or sell it. Or
I don't know. I know Joyce Churchill once. He had Clive's massive collection, and he went to the South Sydney, and he went to the Rugby League, and he said, "Look, I've got all this stuff," and they weren't particularly interested.
Yeah.
I don't. It's somewhere they've got to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
You've got to have a place to store it. You've got to have,
I think it's so much, but I think it at least needs to go like, on microfilm, when you look at that Trove University, you can go on and you can look at all the old newspapers. I think something like that. But
and to be fair, when I'm saying I'm showing you this 1929 grand final between South Sydney and Newtown from the referee, it's on Trove.
Oh, okay. So a lot of them are on Trove.
Yeah. So everything, all the newspapers, all the articles, anything you want to see is actually on Trove. The programs are on Trove, so you can look at any program at any time and look at on Trove.
Yeah, but the difference between you and Trove is you've actually got the physical copy, whereas Trove's just the microfiche version that you can look at on a computer.
Yeah, well, that's true.
So I suppose there's a bit of a difference in that, isn't there?
So what will happen to it when I pass on?
Just give it to your family, or
maybe the family. It'll go to the family, and I suppose all I've done is I've said to my kids, whatever you do, don't throw it out.
No.
If you don't want it, you're gonna.
Yep. So we've just had a look at a little snapshot here, but how many separate pieces do you think you'd have in your collection?
I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, it's like it's not in the hundreds, it's in the thousands.
I have absolutely no idea in terms of articles and things like that. I mean, I've got newspapers and I made scrapbooks and of things.
Yeah.
I've got no idea.
Yeah. All the old Rabbitoh badges.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's this tin? You've got a.
That was. Didn't you get one of those? That was from a packet of biscuits. This is one of my first things. That's for the 1971 grand final.
Wow.
It was. Had a couple of ribbons on it, and you'd wear that. You'd show that if we lost the game.
Which we didn't. Luckily we didn't.
Which we didn't.
Nice.
And then little things like this. Do you remember this?
No.
That was the one when they were out of the competition and they were trying to raise money.
Wear a ribbon to
the Bunnies. Selling the ribbons to try and raise money. But my most valuable thing is this. which is
yeah.
the reserve grade premiership medallion.
Huh. Gee.
Now, Paul can say, no, sorry. I've
He's got the first grade.
He's got three first grade ones.
Yeah, but still, that's priceless.
Yeah,
Right there.
The FML Premiership in 2014.
Wow. A premiership ring.
Premiership ring.
Supporters ring.
Not
a player's ring.
Not the Premiership ring. No, the Bunny Hop.
The Bunny Hop. Featuring Terry Holden and arrangements by Les Dempsey. And it's... Maybe one day we'll sit down and go through a bit more, but we'll wrap it up today. Thanks for that.
Okay.
And hopefully the Bunnies start winning some games this year too.
Yeah, you and me both.
Thanks, mate.
Okay.